All right, guys, thanks for tuning in today. Today is Monday, August 26, 2019, and we have a special guest by the name of Sean Lamphere. Did I say that correctly?
Yes, you did.
I just want to make sure. All right, I know we talked about it, but anyways, yes, thanks for tuning in today. We're going to be talking to Sean about what's going on in his projects, and he's been around in the music scene for a number of years, so he has quite a bit of experience that he can talk about. So I'd like to introduce Sean. Sean, tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Sean. I sing for the band Darker Shade of Gray and S.Y.B.O.T, Stoner Youngbloods of Texas.
So you have two bands going on right now.
Yes.
So which one's like a priority, or what's going on with each one right now?
I think they're both priority.
Okay.
Right now, we're actually recording with Darker Shade of Gray right now, doing an EP.
Okay.
And we're finishing that up right now. We've written music for S.Y.B.O.T for the last year and a half, so it's just a matter of going and recording it, finding time to do that as well.
So y'all in a studio right now, or y'all just?
Well, home studio, kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so cool. So is this like y'all's first EP, or y'all have any other?
We've released some live recordings before, but this will be our first professional recording, yes.
So an EP. So I always get kind of confused. EP, LP, what's an EP?
Extended
5 songs.
play.
About 5 songs is
Yes.
the standard.
Usually,
Okay.
yeah, standard.
Okay.
Stands for extended play.
Extended play. And is it long play?
Long play.
See, these are things
man.
that we like to talk about.
Figure the man
like,
who's behind buttons would know some stuff.
You
like
think
that,
so?
but, you know.
But
Actually, whenever you're talking about like an LP, I think it's limited press or something like that. It's like your initial like rush.
Here comes the nut.
Yeah,
Or an
it's
album,
like because when you say people talk about AD and BC,
or
and we never really know
early
what that
press.
means.
Or
Like
ADD.
EP's like early press.
Oh, wait, that
early
has nothing to do-
Steven's going to look it up. I see him on
I'm
the phone.
gonna look it up.
We're getting sidetracked anyways. But,
Actually, I was wanting to say before we get too far, S.Y.B.O.T, let's give a little bit of background. Now, we both have bands that have been in the music scene for a little while, so we have a little bit of some relationship going on with S.Y.B.O.T themselves. How long have you been doing S.Y.B.O.T?
S.Y.B.O.T, I think we're going on our 7th year. This New Year's, I think, will be 7 years.
Damn.
Nice, yeah.
And
very
what
good.
did you say S.Y.B.O.T standing for? I heard you
Wait,
say
I've got it. I think I've got it.
Okay.
Sell your butt on Tuesday.
Sure. That's
Yep,
exactly what it is.
that's what it is. I knew it. I was like, these guys only play on Tuesday. This is the reason
Hey,
why.
we got to
right
make
here.
our money somehow.
Yeah, dude. Selling out, right?
Okay, but honestly, is there one? Because there's dots in between. Is there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Stoner Youngbloods of Texas.
Hey, that's
okay.
way
I
better.
like that. S.Y.B.O.T.
Man,
I
that's-
never stopped to think about it.
You know what? I might
but-
go listen to y'all now. I'm just joking.
So, all right. So, right now, you got Darker Shade of Gray. S.Y.B.O.T's a little bit on the, not necessarily a back burner, but not as much as of a focus at the moment. Is that how you would explain that?
No, they're both. I'm just kind of with being down with my back problems right now. It's just kind of hard for me to put that much out. So I mean, S.Y.B.O.T's there. It's just a matter of me going over there and doing my part, and then the rest of the guys are always there. They're always down. Sometimes I don't even have to call them. I can just show up at their house and we'll do a jam or something like that. I've just been focusing more, I guess, on a Darker Shade of Gray because there was a 7-year absence there where we didn't play.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I would wonder, all right. So you sing for both.
Yes.
And now in S.Y.B.O.T and Darker Shade of Gray, are you the only same member, or is there other members in each band?
No, I'm the only.
So they're
member for both.
totally separate projects.
Yes.
Basic. Okay. You know, and no, I remember the first time. I don't know if you remember this. But the first time Second Drive played live, it was with Darker Shade of Gray, and I don't know if you remember the show, but it was Steven.
Wasn't it that place that was set up like a Western place down there by the old?
He's talking about
by the old flea market.
It was outdoor.
Over on
It was outside.
by Avenue K or something.
It's
right?
something like that. All right, it was this guy, Steven, you might remember. We randomly met this guy at the bar one night.
That's how it happens.
He was a producer.
So I meet all my guys.
Something. He was putting it together, and Steven just happened to strike conversation with him, led to one thing. It became a show invite for our first show. We were pumped, and I remember playing with you guys, and it was, I don't know what the venue was called, if it really was a venue, but it was like this outdoor thing, and they had some silent disco going on next door.
inside of a big building. Right?
Yeah. You remember that?
Yes, I do.
Man, I do remember.
Yeah, and that's when those those were like, I think,
like
kind of
kind of brand new almost, and they just look like a bunch of like
It's
idiots
so-
in there.
but you had
Yeah,
that.
that wasn't even a venue. That was
Exactly.
someplace
Yeah.
that Jason had just got somebody to let us play there.
Yeah, it was. That was a fun show because I mean, we
Those
felt
usually turn out to be the best kind of
It's,
shows.
it's actually really fun if you don't have headphones on. That's like when it's fun. If you're part of that big crowd where they have headphones on, they're just doing that. If you're the only one that doesn't, that's when it's fun.
so, yeah, I guess so.
Step on people's
You're the
shoes.
outsider. You're
You
not.
can- you
I'm
can,
not
you
in
know,
your little circle.
You can push someone and
Yeah.
walk off real quick. They don't know.
They get
They get really mad, but they don't know.
So-
All right, so EP is extended play, LP is long play. EP also stands for early print.
Yeah, I mean, that was
Anyways.
burning on my eye. Well, I needed you to.
Hey, I had to clarify, man. I'm
People have questions.
So glad you looked it up.
because someone's gonna
us
someone's gonna
back and wasted
comment
another
and be like,
30
"Y'all don't know
seconds."
what you're talking about."
So, all right. So with Darker Shade of Gray and going back to S.Y.B.O.T, what's the difference between the two?
Darker Shade of Gray is more thrash metal,
Okay.
whereas S.Y.B.O.T, we're writing all kinds of music, man. We kind of have a tendency of putting a harder doom kind of industrial sound out as far as like what we release. But man, I mean, as far as recording, there's no rules. We've even messed with a little bit of hip hop sound and everything too, which I'm not a big hip hop.
Try not to
person.
cuss. Try not to cuss. On this.
Okay.
There is nothing wrong
we
with
don't
the
use
word
the
hip
H word.
hop.
We don't use.
There's nothing wrong with hip hop.
How dare you? Sorry, go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
No, well, that's what I was kind of wanting to know. Where do you see the differences? And is there one that you feel that you are more invested in? If that's fair to ask.
No, I think Darker Shade of Gray is where my heart is because Mark and I started that. And Mark's not with us anymore. He died a few years ago. He was killed by a drunk driver.
I remember actually when that happened.
I'm sorry about that.
And whereas S.Y.B.O.T allows me to write music that I would never be able to write in Darker Shade of Gray.
Oh, so it's like another kind of outlet and maybe an
Exactly.
avenue for you to satisfy.
Exactly.
I got you. So, and you've been around, you said, I believe it was 17 years is what you...
Darker Shade of Gray's been around 17 years.
So is that your first band?
Yeah, yes.
So
Well, I mean, I've been in a couple garage bands before that, but only a couple.
So out of 17 years, you've been, in Lubbock with, Darker Shade of Gray and, S.Y.B.O.T, and they've both been inside that 17 years. So you've seen, probably tons of things inside the local scene. So out of that, how have you seen the local scene evolve over that time?
Really, it seems like it's more dissolved than evolved. Because, in the beginning, there were so many bands and everybody was together and working together for the scene. And then for a while, it was just a bunch of backlash, a bunch of talk between bands. And now it's like sometimes it's even hard to get people to even come out to the shows.
I know what you're talking about, because as a second drive has been to shows, sometimes it's a pull.
Even at good venues, it's hard.
Even
still.
good shows.
Well,
sometimes.
even the crowds you get there, they're not as invested as they used to be. You got them standing a little more in the back, sitting at tables, talking while you're playing. They're not invested in the music like they used to be.
Exactly.
Which is all the more important for the local scene to kind of hold on and stay alive,
That's
Go ahead.
That's
Yeah.
a good point, Dan. Actually, and I think the online introduction over the past 17 years has been a big game changer, to where your personal connection to a band is not near what it used to be when that was the only time you could see them. You didn't have YouTube or anything like that to be able to just I'm going to listen to 14,000 people today. It was very limited. But anyways, sorry.
No. That's what this is. That's what Second Sessions is about. It's like everyone's experiences, what we're seeing, and hopefully, these bands, these guys like you, Sean, and everyone else can come here and kind of help bring life back to what's going on around here. People can tune in and get like an inside that they may have not got just seeing you on stage.
Right. And what you were saying about the whole internet and everything, that is somewhat of a blessing sometimes, because you talk about the low amount of people that go out to the show, and then I've turned on to a live feed that somebody recorded, and 100 people 20 minutes later have watched it. So in that sense, that's kind of nice. But, you know, of course, I still wish that they would come out and experience us live.
You're a big social person when it comes to shows. I know we've played with you. You're a bigger guy. You have a presence, but you get out and talk to people. I know Michael's the same way, but you like the fan interaction though, don't you?
I do. I love it.
Yeah, 100 people online is one thing, and that is commendable for sure. But man, it doesn't beat 20 people shaking their hand and literally watching them.
Yeah, that one person that walks up and you have that interaction with, I always find that a little more endearing.
Well, I feel like my job in the band is to connect with at least one person that night that's never heard us, or even maybe someone that's heard us before that didn't really so much like us the first time.
Exactly.
And grab hold of them the second time. Mm-hmm. If I can just have one person come up and tell me that I did my job right that night, that I touched them musically, then I feel like I've done what I was supposed to do.
And that's something that I think the fans are these days all about. Like back in the day, you know, and I got this from, there was a couple years back, we went to Dallas and played the show, and we were talking to, I can't remember, it was someone that was interested in managing us. In the end, we passed because we've gone through that, and you end up wasting your money, you know, especially if they don't live locally, you know, if you're going through like a site online or something. And
yeah, because
you get paired with someone.
Then it's like a call center is your manager.
But thing is, I will say, it really is, but out of that, there was some good advice to take away. And one of the advice was, you know, back in the day, he said, you know, he's like, when I would go to shows, especially big shows, more than local shows, but like I would go as a fan and I would know that I'm not going to talk to the band. I'm not going to get to meet them. I'm going to be out there, and then when the show's over, I'm going to go home. He's like, fans now these days want personal interaction. And so what it takes is after the show to go talk to them and have them make a connection with you so that they'll come to the next show. And I agree. I think it's good to do that, you know, especially playing locally in Lubbock. Our venues allow us to make that connection. You get off the stage. It's not a green room we retire to.
Has there ever been a backstage where y'all have played? Has there ever been, you know?
No, we go to the bar and get another beer.
All red M&Ms.
Go sit at the table with our family and our friends.
And watch the next show. So, you know, people come up and, you know, that's how we engage these days. You know, that's what it takes to get one fan.
Well, I think we've been kind of urged as live musicians to do that because that's how, I mean, we have to keep that interaction with people. And so we have to get out there more and be more interactive.
And I've also, you know, made merch that I had no intentions of selling that I just give away. With Darker Shade of Gray, I used to do posters of the band or posters of me in makeup or whatever the hell I was doing that day. S.Y.B.O.T, we did S.Y.B.O.T dollars for a while.
I remember that.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then we did a poster where we were all made up like Sith Lords, like a Star Wars type poster thing. And I just gave them away. And I feel like when you give something away to people, they're not gonna go home, go to sleep that night, and then forget what the name of the band was the next day, right? Because they've got that something to hang on to.
Or hopefully there's more of a possibility that they won't do that. And I've got to ask you too, have y'all ever, did y'all have like a demo or something that y'all had S.Y.B.O.T? Did y'all have like a demo or something at one point in time?
We put a demo out before we put our first CD out.
Because I thought I remembered having something from y'all that was like tangible.
We had like, I think a 5-song demo that we ended up finally, you know, adding some other songs on and making it a full CD. Okay. And then also, I think we did a live recording of our first show. So it was like a DVD that we gave out for a while too.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. You know, take home, pop it in, and get more than just audio.
Yeah.
You know, see.
Yeah, they get the CD and the DVD.
Well, that makes a big difference too, because that means, you know, if you're watching someone as opposed to something else, you're more invested. So
well, you know, I think sometimes you're like, oh, that's what they look like. You know?
Exactly. You've put more thought into it. like bands that name themselves like they, you know, it's like Ice Cream Poopsicle. And you're like, well, where did they get that? If somebody's going to have a whole conversation about where they did that, and that band's going to be better known, you know, than somebody who's actually good out there, because people are talking about their name.
Well, you know, like, okay, everyone I'm sure here knows the band Gwar. You know,
Oh,
you
me
don't
and
just
Dan-
listen
me
to
and Dan
Guar.
know
You
about
have
Guar.
you have to
Very
go.
experienced.
Go
Has
there.
everybody in here been to a Guar concert?
I
Yes,
have been
I've seen
to,
them like
yes.
4 or 5
Oh
times.
my
It is
goodness.
something you have to
I
go
used
see
to
it.
actually have a bag of blood that did not pop that I had in my freezer for years. My
You
wife
just
finally
wrote
threw it
Guar,
away.
do not touch. It's like Guar's lunch is in your
Do you
fridge.
still have it?
No, my wife finally threw it away. But yeah, I had it in the freezer for a couple of years.
She's like, fine, we've got to move on from this.
But you know, I think that's one thing that's lacking that I've seen in a lot of the new, like the upcoming bands that are coming out. And I mean, this could be just my opinion, but the experience, like it's not so much like, because when you touched on it, you get up there and you're a character, you tell a story, you're trying to sell the music, connect with them. I mean, that's what I do. I get into character. I'm gonna connect with somebody. They're gonna feel the music, and I don't see that a lot from the younger bands that are coming up. It's more they're getting up there and they're focused on whatever they've got in their hands. They're not, I mean, like I said, it could just be my opinion, but I don't feel a story with some of these newer bands like with us, you know?
like context and what they're actually doing.
Yeah, I mean, the story's the whole thing for me being a singer. You know, I'm not talented enough to play any instruments, so I've got to catch them with the story. I'm like the spider, you know, catching the fly on the web.
Exactly.
Kind of.
Yep.
And
Do you
know,
play any
took-
instruments? I'm
no,
sorry, man,
no,
I
I don't. I collect instruments, but I don't
do you?
play them.
Okay.
Yes, I've got very, very many.
Okay.
And-
Hey, I'm right there with
but
you.
you know, you
I-
talk about the whole visual thing. I tried that with the Darker Shade of Gray, but the whole band really wasn't in it. And in the very beginning, when we first started, I would wear makeup and stuff like that on stage to try to pull them in. But the band decided we really wanted to really grab them with the music. Then I've always been shock rock kind of guy. Kiss was my first band. You know, of course, Gore, Twisted Sister, Wasp. All those, you know, crazy bands
Rat,
that really,
Warrant, you know, come on,
but
yeah.
really the one, Alice Cooper was the one that really
Yeah,
grabbed me
fucking love Cooper.
with it. So I try to do that sometimes with S.Y.B.O.T. Not as much lately as when we first started. When we first started, we all came out as different characters of the different Jokers that been played over the years.
Yeah, that's cool.
We
That
did
is
the
a pretty
bright
cool
green
concept, yeah.
shirts with the makeup.
I like
and
that,
all.
yeah.
And then I've done the horror masks.
I remember
with
the
the full
masks.
jumpsuits
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So S.Y.B.O.T, we do kind of sometimes grab them with the visualization of the whole thing.
Right.
Lately, I guess I just kind of, sometimes you get a lot of negativity back from people when you try to push that with a band. So to prove to myself that we still got it, we've just been going out there and playing as ourselves. But we have been talking about doing the visualizations and the acting out on stage again, because man, when I pay money to go to a show,
It's
I want
visual
to
as
go
well
home.
as audio.
I want to go home with the wow factor.
Exactly.
Thinking about it, you're like,
Exactly.
that was
Well,
a good
I,
show.
I remember one time, might have been my favorite show of all time, and I've seen just about everybody that I want to see. But you threw candy at one of your
Yep.
shows. You
I
threw
caught
candy
some of
at
that
one
shit,
of your
too.
shows,
Yep.
and that made me happy. I liked it.
We did that.
I don't eat
for Here,
candy,
Take
but I was
This.
like,
The name of the song is called Here, Take This. Most people think it's Take Your Medicine.
That's what
Michael
I said.
was
I got it
talking
wrong.
about
I
this
said
earlier.
take-
I
Hey,
tie
yeah.
them off in sandwich baggies so they looks like it's Skittles, but it looks like little dope bags. And with the big pharma, you know,
yeah, and do not sell
movement and
dope,
everything.
kids.
Yeah,
Do
we
not sell dope.
throw it out to everybody while we sing the song.
Yeah, I caught one of those.
Yeah, I did too.
And I ate the
still
candy.
have it. I thought it was real, so I've been keeping it. But now that I know that it's candy,
Damn.
I think I'll go
I
ahead
actually
and eat it.
had a kid walk up to me one day and was like, "Is this real? Is this real drugs?" And I was like, "Come on, man, for real. Do you think I have the money to give drugs
Right.
away?"
Do I look like the type of person?
so
that
what you're
does that?
saying is you wish you could have said yes. No.
In retrospect, it would have been really cool. Like, yeah, it's real, dude.
You probably shouldn't take those. Just turn those in. Yeah. There was something I wanted to ask you about. Oh, because you were talking about, you know, when you were younger, it was like bands like Kiss, Alice Cooper that really, you know, that you connected with. Can you remember a time, or maybe it was a moment where like music connected with you? Like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah,
Who?
from a very early age.
Okay.
First instrument was not electric, but an acoustic guitar, and I would do the bouncing off the off the couches and flying across the room, trying to do the splits, dressed up like one of the KISS members. It was
Trying to yeah. Sorry.
just, I mean, as far as I can remember, I was introduced to KISS in the 2nd grade. I was always running around the neighborhood dressed out like my mom was a beautician. So I was into her makeup and her wigs, dressing up like them, tinfoil on my arms, you know, trying to do the Gene Simmons thing, everything. My second instrument was drums. I think I bought when I was 10 years old with my paper route money. Made the mistake of taking them apart one day, and my mom threw them all away.
Whoa!
Yeah, that kind of hurt.
Why?
But I've tried over the years to learn how to play instruments. I'm not very good. I'd lose interest. But music, I've always been interested in music. I literally feel like it saved my life, you know, in a couple times in my life.
Yeah, you know, it's because it's something that, I don't know, it just really allows you to, you know, bleed yourself into something, you know. Maybe not everyone connects it, but when you're writing, like, 'cause you're a vocalist, you write lyrics. And I know Michael's the same way. Like, those lyrics mean something. They're not BS.
I write
you know?
most of his lyrics, though. I write most of them.
No one's
Well,
supposed
some
to
of
know
them
that.
mean something. You know, some of them are just stories.
Yeah.
And that's what, you know, some people have to understand, because I've literally had people come up to me after the shows and ask me if I'm satanic because of some of the stuff I've sang, and I'm not.
It's just like you know, like you said, it's putting on a show,
Exactly.
you know, and
Getting in the character,
Well, and even
becoming
even-
who that character is while
Exactly.
you're on stage.
Even if you honestly wanted to say some of those things, but you didn't truly mean it, it gives you an avenue to be able to get that emotion out. And that's a big thing. I always envy writers who are able to do it, lyric writers who are able to do it very well and get their maybe point across. You know,
You want to just provoke something, whether it's a feeling, whether it's just to get somebody thinking about shit. You know, I mean, whether it's personal or just like something that's going out, you know, in the world today. You just want to provoke a thought, a feeling, an emotion. You want them to connect. And through a story, through a personal feeling, I mean, that's just, I mean, I love writing. I'll just write to anything. You know, just tell a story, get my feelings out. I mean, that's how I see it. And I don't like when people get up there and it's just like, you take a lot of the hip hop today, what they're rapping about. It's not substance. There's nothing there. And to me, that's what this younger generation is missing, is that they're just getting up there and playing the part. There's nothing they're really saying. And I know there's a lot going on in their lives that they could be saying, but they're not saying anything. It's just noise to me. And
a lot of it is 100%.
And I hate to
it's just
say
to
that,
fill the gap.
It's
but
like
there's a lot of
because they
good
can
shit.
do so much.
There's a lot of good
It's
shit
an
out
ego
there.
thing, I think.
Yeah.
It's like, it's how do people percept me while I'm on stage, kind of thing. Or you know, they're pushing that. A lot of those hip hop, like you were saying, are pushing that drug thing that they drink. Is it cough syrup or something that they do, or is it something more?
Well, this is dated, but Sizzurp, like
Well,
that was like
most of it-
that was
most
like
of
a
it now-
90s.
Really,
you know what
most
I'm
of it
saying?
now
But-
they're talking about doing like fucking oxy and the prescription drugs and
Oh, okay.
all that kind of shit. You know,
See,
Adderall.
I've been there, done that. That's not a part of my life I want to repeat.
Man, you know what? Seriously, that's not a part of any life that I would like to promote either, to be honest with you.
You know, I still say
If-
sex, drugs, and rock and roll, but
Hey, but I mean,
Yeah, but there's a way to do it. There's always a place that you just won't take it. I mean, you always push the envelope. That's what I like to do especially with some lyrics stuff. You push it, but
the older I've gotten, the music is more important to me than how people perceive me. I'm comfortable who I am.
exactly.
I like what I'm doing. Do I think I'm great at what I do? No. I think my band compliments me for the type of music that I make. There's a lot better singers out there than myself. But I enjoy what I'm doing, and for being 49 years old and still playing heavy metal, I feel very fortunate.
Well, I
to be
think
able
it's
to do
smart
that.
to be humble about it too. You know, it's good enough.
honestly, if you've ever been through it, that's the only way you're.
You don't
gonna
want to have
be.
a big head because people don't like working with that. You know,
Exactly.
and it's not really even if you think you're good, but someone's going to say, "I like what you're doing," and you know, those could be your fans or just someone that gets it.
Well, and there's always something to learn. There's always something to learn.
Man, once you're done learning, you're done. You know.
Yeah.
But I do have a quick question. Which KISS meaning do you like more? 'Cause there's a few different ones out there. Like, what does KISS stand for?
I always heard it was Knights in Satan's Service.
All right.
But I've heard too that it was Kings in Satan's. I don't know. I never really thought about what it meant. I was just into what they were doing. The whole flash of it all.
See, and this is a perfect example.
Away with the wow factor afterwards.
Yeah, it's a perfect example of them portraying something. They were actors up there. I don't believe any of them thought they were in Satan's service. Like Gene Simmons, the tongue and all this and all that. It was if you probably knew Gene Simmons, it wasn't like that. My favorite one is Keep It Simple, Stupid. I think that's the easiest one. And to be honest, I think KISS actually thought the same thing because that's sort of what they did. They kept it by the if there were bylaws of what music should be, they kept it by that, but they just sort of amped it up by the performance.
Yeah, sounds right.
So I have a question. Oh, I'm sorry.
I just have one more.
Go ahead.
Okay, this one is way off topic, but I did want to talk about it because me and you have talked about it. All right, so we both have a mutual friend. Well, actually, all of us do. I don't know.
I don't think, but go ahead.
I don't know if Dan's met him or not, but his name's Trevor Jennings.
Yes.
All right, so he's the nephew, I believe,
of
the one and only Waylon Jennings.
Waylon Jennings.
Yeah, born in Littlefield, Texas. Not shallow water or not level land. I've seen this on test when I was at school at South Plains. The answers were shallow water or level land. It was not. He's from Littlefield, and I want to make that known. Even though people don't like him or do like him, but the Highwaymen, Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson,
you can't deny it.
Chris Christopherson.
They all
Waylon Jennings is a big
music.
influence.
They influenced music.
But he got kind of injured the other day, and I want to give him a sincere shout out to keep getting better, and I'm glad you're okay because from what I heard, it sounds like it could have been really bad. But he is also a very good musician, and there is maybe a possibility of maybe like a benefit show going on. I know we don't have anything set or nothing's been set, but I just really wanted to give him a little
I would
shout
like
out.
to try to put something together, get some local musicians together to help me do it if we could find a venue that would allow us to do it without having to pay out for. I went and visited him at the hospital yesterday, and he looked pretty rough. My wife and I spent about 45 minutes with him, and
he had a pretty bad head injury.
Yes.
He had a very bad head injury, like fractured skull.
Had to remove part of his skull to remove a blood clot the size of your fist. And so to see him and to have him sitting up talking with us, that was very nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's good.
Very nice guy, though. Very nice guy. Very talented guy.
And if anybody sees this and has anything to say about that,
please hit us up.
Hit us up for any reason, not even just that, but any reason you see.
Just saying that, you can always visit our Facebook at facebook.com/second sessions or email us at secondsessions@yahoo.com. We can, go on with that. Just putting that out there.
But just... Trevor, shout out, man. Hope you're doing good, dude. We love you.
I do have so this question is going to sound a little similar to the one I asked you when I was, how have you seen the scene evolve? But it is a little different. Okay. So out of 17 years, what is it like being a musician for 17 years? How do you keep going?
I feel like it's the only thing that I've ever been really good at. So I do it because it gives me personal satisfaction. Of course, in the beginning, I wanted to be this big rock star and everything. But the older I've gotten, I realize that the reality of that's probably not going to happen. But if I get my 30 minutes on stage, even if it's locally, even if it's in New Mexico, it's the greatest feeling in the world. It's better than any drug I've ever done.
You're damn right.
Yeah, it's almost like chasing the first time you experienced it a little bit, that first time you're on stage, but you want to relive it, you want to keep doing it. And, and I remember when I was younger, well before I was playing with anyone, but, I had aspirations, I had bands that I loved growing up. I never, I would go see like local shows or whatnot, and it's like, you don't realize how hard it is to be in a band. It takes at least a skill to play. Members that want to hang out together, write together, show
Hopefully
up
want to
together,
hang out together.
and it goes way past being a stage. I mean, yeah, you see what you see, but it's the involvement and investment.
It's a brotherhood. It's becoming
so
a
deep.
family.
When you take your deepest, darkest secrets and lay them out on the drums, and I do the same thing with the guitar, Michael vocals, you vocals, anything. When you take, because if you're truly writing, you're writing from deep within.
Yeah, you're putting
when
a
you
piece of
when you
yourself in.
throw that out there, no matter what it sounds like, looks like, it feels like it, and it takes a lot to be able to work with multiple individuals who are artistically driven.
And
That's a hard thing. When you're at a regular job, and I mean, everybody's got regular jobs. All of us have regular jobs.
which
but
is the balance.
Yeah, which is
you
the
know?
balance. But whenever you're there, I don't care if you're flipping burgers. That's just, you're like, unless you become like a burger connoisseur, it's not going to be your life. It's this kind of stuff that you get to put your real stuff out. And it's hard. And it's hard to do that with a lot of people. And showing that you've done it for 17 years and we're sort of in that same position, that's so commendable and very rare that I think maybe Lubbock benefits from that a little bit. Like,
I
we're
think it
still
does.
able to retain that a little bit.
I think it does, and you still have the love for it. I mean,
It gives us the opportunity.
I was looking back, and I was trying. I'm about to start doing some
Don't start
history.
crying, because I'm going to start crying. If you start crying, I'm going to start crying. And he's going to start, and he looks ugly when he cries.
I'm an ugly crier.
I'm about to start trying to put a history together of a darker shade of gray.
Oh, man.
And I decided started by writing down all the members. And I think I came up with, in the 17 years the Darker Shade of Gray's been together, I think there's been 24 different people in our band.
Damn.
That sounds about right.
Now, that is
I am sure.
ambitious.
Yeah.
You're like,
No,
I just, and I
keep
feel
that
like
going.
that is, yeah.
and anybody that knows me or knows anything about a Darker Shade of Gray knows that my whole purpose for keeping it together is to tell people about Mark Purvis, which was my original guitar player that died. He was like, I don't know how to explain it. He just, out of all the musicians I've met in my life, I've met a lot of them. Most of them are pretty cool. I can't say they're all been cool, but most of them have been. There's not a day that goes by, even now, 10 years later after he's dead, that I don't think about him. Or think about where we would be if he would still be here. But it took thinking that way at my last band practice. And I had to tell the guys, look, man, if Mark wouldn't have ever died, I would have never had the opportunity to play with all y'all and to grow this, make this band grow. And the people that I've got in a Darker Shade of Gray right now are the best set of people that I'm not going to say the best, but it's the band that I'm happiest with out of the entire time.
yeah.
I think I've got the best musicians that I've had in the entire time now. And of course, I still miss Mark, and I miss a few other, my friends that have played with me.
Right.
But I think the people that I've got now are the perfect puzzle. And that's what I look at a band as. Each member is a puzzle piece. When one's not there, it's like you're missing a piece of the puzzle. Mm-hmm. It's like not the whole complete thing.
And these guys allow you, make a canvas for you to write your vocals,
Do you have...
They allow me to write whatever I want. Now, every now and then they'll throw some ideas up there. And of course, they're always like, write something that's not evil. And
oh, well, that might be
sound like
we can
tough.
understand that. But now, so, and this has got to be just a generalization question. Do you all usually go with like them writing the music and then you come in and you write whatever you want, but you put the lyrics to it? Or is it usually like ideas maybe that you have? And I'm not trying to separate the two by no means, because I know we have our own challenges with all that. Especially writing. Writing is so hard, but we try to do the best we can. What do you think?
A Darker Shade of Gray, I allow them to write the music, and then I put the words to it.
Okay.
And if I have a hard time, they like to help or give ideas.
Right. Well, I mean,
with
brothers,
S.Y.B.O.T,
man, brothers.
S.Y.B.O.T, it's a little different. Saul starts out with a riff, and then he builds on it. And it's funny because I've been right there beside him during most of the writing, And that guy's just talented because he started out with a thump, 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 thump that I'm thinking, oh God, where are we going with this kind of thing? I hate it. And by the end of it, after he's done layered it, it's like, wow, you had that in your head?
Yeah.
And
Steven does that.
lots of times with the writings,
I'm notorious for that, yeah.
I write to it as he's writing the music, but then lots of times Saul helps me with the lyrics and we write the lyrics together. We come up with the stories together.
So, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
So we're getting close to wrapping it up, but I still have a question. And kind of, I guess, the final question, unless you guys have something y'all want to have in your head. But
I'm gonna cook one up.
okay,
Go ahead.
So, but
I got one.
what is in store for the future for either one of your bands? Like, what's coming up?
Well, we're recording right now our EP for Darker Shade of Gray. So hopefully within a few months we'll have that out.
Okay.
It's just a matter of getting with S.Y.B.O.T and recording the stuff that we've written the last year and a half, 2 years, and deciding which songs we want to do. Saul kind of wants to go and do the heavier songs and make it S.Y.B.O.T. I'm kind of trying to change the direction of S.Y.B.O.T a little bit to whereas what we've written, I want to go back and I want to re-record all this stuff and I want people to hear it. You know, of course, some people will like it, some people won't. They won't be heavy enough. It won't be metal. It won't be, you know, we'll still have the heavy metal songs too. But I feel like if we've created this as a band, we should share it with the people.
It's sometimes hard because you want to evolve with your music. And
Yeah,
it's
that's a
I
very
feel
good
like
answer.
if we released the music that's a little different, that we will obtain a greater fan base. More, which I really don't like the word fans. I like friends better than
cool.
fans. But I think that we would make more friends. More people would listen to us. Yeah, they might not like one song, but they like another song.
right. You know, because sometimes, you know, when you're coming out with new music, it can be challenging for fans, but you want to, just capture those moments with those guys. You know, come out
I just
with
don't
what
want to
you
limit
want to be
myself
doing.
as a musician.
Yeah.
Amen, brother.
Yeah.
Yep.
Steven, go ahead. I know you
Well,
want.
can I ask one real quick?
Go ahead.
Let
All
Michael
right,
go.
so this podcast, we're focused on local, like the local scene.
We're trying to.
We want to pump life back into it because it used to be a fun brotherhood, and it's
And he
died a little.
remembers this. He remembers
I mean,
this.
you show up, brothers play, we have a good time, all that stuff.
Didn't matter what you sounded
what
like
would be
almost,
what would
man.
be your advice to a new band walking into this scene now? What would be your advice?
That's a good one.
And that is a good question.
Like a brand new nubile, and I know everybody watches porn. Y'all know what nubile means.
Nubile.
So
Get off of that.
That's what she
it's the
said.
best
I don't
way
know
for
what
people to
nubile
understand.
Anyways, Sean.
Advice.
He liked it,
I don't
dude.
know. I'm not really one to give advice. I try to show people how you should be more than talk because my mouth gets me in more trouble than anything.
Mine too.
But I don't know. I just stay humble. You know, work hard. You know, make music that you're proud of, and share it with people. And don't think because that you've gone out and played a couple shows that somebody owes you something. I think that's the biggest misconception with musicians. You know, they've been out there a couple months or they've been out there a year or two. They feel like somebody owes them something. And you got to remember that, you know, it's not the 60s or 70s anymore. There's not only 50 bands out there.
Right.
There's thousands of bands
That's
out
what I was
there.
talking about with the internet. Like just, sorry.
And
It's
there's
easier.
a lot of good bands. There's a lot of sucky bands.
A lot more
know,
secular ones and a lot better ones. I mean,
I kind of I told my guys a long time ago, if you don't like a band, keep it to yourself. You know, wait till we get back to our jam room and we can talk about what you liked or what you didn't like. Don't stand on the side of the band or side of the stage and say that band sucks.
dude, our
their
singer
girlfriend's
does
gonna
that
hear
all
that.
the time.
I-
I
Their
get on
girlfriend's
I
going to
haven't
hear
done that
that, or
once.
one of their members are going to hear that. And I said, that's bad. You know, people say there's nothing bad you can do when you're in a band when it comes to promoting and shit like that. But there really is
there
bad
is.
talk about other bands. I think is the worst thing that you can do.
And it shouldn't be that way.
No,
if
it
you have, like, if you don't like what this guitar player did or what this singer did, it's not up to you. What they did, they got out there in front of all the same crowd you just did,
Doing exact same thing you're
exactly
doing.
the same thing you did. And it's that I think what this podcast has been sort of focalized on is the camaraderie that we once experienced, that is still there to a certain extent. I'm not going to sit here and say that it's not, but we definitely all see changes going on with it, and we just want to address them, if nothing else, for future musicians that come out.
Exactly.
So is there, for people that are listening to this and want to check out, S.Y.B.O.T, Darker Shade of Gray, where can they find your stuff?
I know we have a S.Y.B.O.T channel on YouTube,
Okay.
and then you can go on YouTube. We have music videos for "Here, Take This," "Blood on My Hands," which originally was a Darker Shade of Gray song that we started doing for S.Y.B.O.T. "Here, Take This," "Blood on My Hands."
And these
There's
are
another
music.
one,
These are
Heavy
music
Metal
videos,
Cowboy.
right?
Boom.
Heavy Metal Cowboy.
That's the
Yeah,
one.
there you
That's
go.
the
Yeah,
one.
there it
I've
is.
always
All
liked
right.
Heavy Metal Cowboy.
And then we have a comedy skit too called the S.Y.B.O.T Show.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Where
cool.
can you
So-
find that?
yeah.
I want to see that.
It would have to be. You'd have to look it up under the S.Y.B.O.T Show.
Okay.
And
Okay.
on
YouTube.
YouTube.
That's
yes.
fine. That's fine.
The
I'll,
S.Y.B.O.T show.
I will do
Yes.
that.
Okay.
I'm sure everyone listening will too, because
go
they're
check
just
it
going to
out.
be interested, I'm sure.
As far as the Darker Shade of Gray, we've got a couple of our last two shows. They're out there somewhere.
Okay.
There's not a Darker Shade of Gray page. Now there's like a MySpace.
No one's checking
remember that?
out
Yeah, I
MySpace.
know.
What is that?
That was like 200
is
years
that?
ago.
We're over
dude.
MySpace.
Golly.
I just
Okay,
know that
one other thing. Is there anything that anybody can catch you doing coming up very recent? Like, do y'all have any shows coming up or anything like that that anybody can be aware of if they want to go?
Yes, the Darker Shade of Gray is playing on September 14th on the Festival of Lost Souls. It's going to be in Abernathy.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Abernathy,
Oh
Texas.
man, very
and
local.
It's a
Okay.
huge. They're going to have people flinging fire.
They're
out
going to light
there.
the
They're
town
gonna
on
be
fire. I would do that to
Tattooists out
Abernathy.
there. They're doing all kinds of face painting, artists as far as paintings, stuff like that. Yeah, it's
Okay,
going to be
cool.
really neat.
Well, sweet.
Come out and support.
Yeah, definitely.
absolutely,
Anybody
'cause-
who's able to, definitely go out. Say the date again.
September 14th, the Festival of Lost Souls.
Okay.
Abernathy, Texas, not too
love
far
it.
away.
I
Do
love
you know
that
the name of the venue by any chance?
It's out in the country.
He just said it, Dan.
Come on, Dan.
Out in the country.
Come on, Dan.
For those who weren't
Abernathy.
listening.
It's out in the country.
Festival
So
of
tell you
Lost
what,
Souls.
you go out to the country, take a left, you're there.
Boom. All right, Sean, thank you so much for
Follow
coming
the
out
music.
today.
Yeah, thank
It's
you.
been
Also,
having me.
rapid fire. What's your favorite color?
Black,
I had a feeling.
This is not very rapid.
blue,
Favorite animal?
All right.
elephant.
Oh.
Michael wants to know about penis size.
Penis, what's that?
He's been
Yeah,
he's been
right.
nudging me this whole time.
What's a penis?
All right,
right,
guys.
guys.
Thank y'all very much.
Well,
I'm sorry,
all right.
Dan.
No, it's okay. Stealing my thunder.
Michael
All right.
was asking me the whole time.
All right, again, Sean
like, I haven't
Lamphere
seen it.
of A Darker Shade of Gray and S.Y.B.O.T coming out here talking about what they do. Thank you again so much for being here. Catch us next time. Second sessions, we will have some more local music and artists for us to interview. All right, yeah, why not, right? All right, thanks, guys. Signing off.
Thank y'all very much. Appreciate it.
Take it easy.